June was a superstar month for me. Come find out the real numbers. Hello Writers in Training, I'm Shannon, writing under the pen name S.C. Houston and the author of the Clash of Goddesses series. Welcome to my channel where I show writers like you how to develop your writing skills and self-publish your work. I'm a bit behind talking about my numbers, but the final book in my trilogy launched in June and I was putting together the presentations for the first AuthorTube writing conference. Both were spectacular events. Okay, let's look at the numbers for June. As a reminder, for 5 days in June from the 6th to the 10th, my first book, Blood of the Lily, was free during the launch of Tears of the Marigold. I had 2,389 downloads, but those had no earnings. For one specific number, I can't just look at the online KDP report. I must download the report for more accurate figures. However, there's still a discrepancy for the amount of money I made. Blood of the Lily became 99 cents after its free promotional run. If I was to just use the online KDP reports and choose June 11th through the 30th, it says that I had 36 orders of the ebook. However, I know this isn't right because even though the free book ended on the 10th, some books were still downloaded for free on the 11th because of time zone differences. This report does not show that. So I download the report. Now I can see how many of those ebooks were actual sales versus those downloaded for free. While this report clarifies what I can count towards sales, not all the reports are created equal. For instance, I can look at the online royalties estimator report for how much money I made for those 17 ebook sales, $6.11. However, if I downloaded the report on this page, it says $6.23 for those same ebook sales. That's a difference of 12 cents. No wonder my numbers always seem to be slightly off. What am I supposed to do with these discrepancies? That's a decision I have to make for myself. I decide to use just the downloaded report for accurate numbers of ebook sales, but I'll take the earnings figure from the online report. For the rest of the month, Blood of the Lily had 17 ebook sales for earnings of $6.11, 4 online paperback sales and 1 physical paperback sale for earnings of $21.92 and 1,362 KENP for earnings of $6.20. All earnings together come to $34.33. Now let's add all these numbers to previous figures from May. The total number of books sold is now 130 and total KENP is 4,619 for total earnings of $259.19. Next are my marketing costs. I ran several types of promotions for the 5-day free period and 3 more the next week when the book was discounted to 99 cents. If you're interested in my full marketing strategy, catch my last video. My total marketing costs for all the book marketing, Amazon ads, story origin, and a book fair came to $457.76. Added to the previous marketing costs gives me a new total of $1,254.73. My new and current deficit for Blood of the Lily is $1,727.64. That's an increase in my deficit by over $400. The money made on Blood of the Lily did not cover the cost of marketing, but that's to be expected as a first book in series is often known as the lost leader. The idea is that many of those who picked up the first book will go on to buy the rest of the series. Only the coming months will be able to tell me if this will be true. Now let's look at my second book's numbers. Soul of a Rose was priced at 99 cents for the whole month, and it had 146 ebook sales for earnings of $51.99, 1 online paperback sale, and 1 physical paperback sale for earnings of $9.35, and 2,045 KENP for earnings of $9.38. June earnings come to $70.72. For the lifetime of the book, the total number sold comes to 254, and total KENP is 4,573 for total earnings of $186.12. Some of my marketing during my third book launch was also purchased on Soul of a Rose in the amount of $88, bringing my marketing totals to $91. My new and current deficit for Soul of a Rose is $1,220.62. I felt that book sales for my second book was really strong. I more than doubled my sales from the launch of its own debut, but the amount of money I spent marketing the book meant that I added to my deficit by more than $17. Some of the marketing I would not do again, which I talked about in my last video. Now let's move on to the last book in my series, Tears of the Marigold, and look at the numbers during its debut month. The book was priced at 99 cents for the whole month, and it had 159 ebook sales for earnings of $57.17, 5 online paperback sales, and 1 physical paperback sale for earnings of $23.29, and 776 KENP for earnings of $3.50. The total number of books I have sold so far in this debut month is 165, with a total of 776 KENP for earnings of $83.96. Some of my marketing was also done on my third book during its launch. Those marketing totals come to $46.33. My production cost for this book comes to $1,115.29. If I deduct my marketing and my production costs from the money made this month, the deficit for Tears of the Marigold is $1,077.66. I actually made more money than what I spent on marketing, but I also have to account for the production of the book before I can ever break even and start making money. One thing I want to note is that the number of books sold for Tears of the Marigold is greater than either the numbers for Blood of the Lily and Soul of a Rose. What that tells me is that I had readers who had already read the rest of the series and were just waiting for that last book to be published. I'm extremely grateful that there are some readers out there who enjoy my writing. Let's combine all three book numbers for a big picture. I have sold 549 books with 9,968 KENP for total earnings of $529.27. If I add in all of Tears of the Marigold's production costs, my new figure comes to $3,163.13. I also have to add in all the new marketing costs, which brings that figure to $1,392.06. Time for the total deficit number. I have a grand deficit of $4,025.92, an increase of $1,518.47. I'm so very happy for how many books I've sold, but this is a huge deficit for my first completed series, which feels like it will take forever and years for me to even break even. While I'm happy with publishing my work and my efforts to bring my words to thousands of readers, I will be changing my strategy moving forward to reduce the amount of money spent. I'll talk about that in a future video. I haven't spent any marketing dollars on my books for July and August, so let's see how much I'm able to reduce my deficit in those monthly reports. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today, and happy writing.